Hello, dynamic stars. How are you? It's Azurite 22 coming to you, as always, to bring your intuition to the fore, to bring you more into your life. Today's video has been requested by a very, very faithful supporter and follower of the channel, BK. So this is for you. The channel is speaking today about, drumroll, the Metu Neter Orisha deities, Nekhebet and Wadjet. Now, these are not technically archetypes that you can follow that have specific qualities to them. Nekhebet and Wadjet are the serpents. That's how they're depicted, as these hooded serpents. I'm going to put a picture right here. And you're going to be able to see that you can't really follow a serpent, right? Their energy is the subtle electromagnetic forces that are out in the world. Wadjet took care of ancient Egypt and was the protector. They're the ones that energy, Wadjet was the one that sent energy out to protect the nation. Nekhbet covered the northern hemisphere and focused on protecting the people and ensured that the people were safe. So more of the receptive end, whereas Wadjet is more, yes, the attack or protecting against those who might come for ancient Egypt. That's what those energies were for, Nekhebet and Wadjet, protectors. So if you think of it in that sense, things that are not quite seen or not quite heard by the five senses, those two serpents will pick up because they're looking at the other planes of existence, the planes of existence that our physical eyes cannot see. That is a better way of looking at Nekhebet and Wadjet. And those forces, when you receive a Nekhebet and Wadjet reading, or if it's in your incarnation objective, you can work with instead of it working on you. Because a lot of times we just move in the world without thinking about the other aspects. You know, we're doing our day-to-day 3D living, and that requires a great deal of the time for you to focus on, specific mundane tasks. Nekhebet and Wadjet want you to remember that there are other aspects that are impacting your mundane 3D life. And that is what this video is going to talk about, to help you to understand if you pull this or if you suspect Nekhebet and Wadjet are in your life. Let's talk about Nekhebet first. Nekhebet is the cooler of the two magnetic forces, subtle electromagnetic forces. So if you receive a Nekhebet, you're going to more have situations that correspond to the deity Sekerd, which tends to be a cooler, very focused, very somber kind of an energy. So Nekhebet kind of follows along with that, its colors being the darker blues as well as the white. You can also get a little bit of depression with that. You can get, on the flip side, on the negative side of Nekhebet, you can get a little depression, you can get a little sadness, little woe is me, humdrum. Just not really of the energy. So if you want to look at them as opposites to get a better understanding, Wadjet is a lot of energy, just teeming with energy. And Nekhebet is more, okay, let me watch, let me see what's going on, let me see what's happening. So it's cooler, calmer, more analytical, if you will. So those are the two polarities. So if you have this Nekhebet, if it's in its positive state, this is a good thing for you to kind of, what's going on? And maybe you can pull information, pull energies, see auras, be able to subtly influence people through the colors that you wear, through the gestures that you make, through just your thoughts, your thinking. Whether you realize it or not, you are able to subtly transmit the things that you're really interested in, information that you're seeking. It's that kind of energy. Whereas Wadjet, you can actually send that energy. Nekhebet, you're kind of pulling it and receiving it. Wadjet, you're sending it out. So that is another way to look at Nekhebet and Wadjet. And you see, I'm not really talking about, well, it's this, it's red, it's green, you know, it's hot, it's fiery. Not really, because it's an energy. The energy of Wadjet is hot and kind of fiery and just fast paced and very unexpected. Sudden things can happen with Wadjet. With Nekhebet, it's more subtle. It's a little bit more surprises. Things do happen unexpectedly, but not in that kind of fashion. It's sort of like, oh my God, I'd really, really love a cup of coffee right now. And somebody happens to say, you know what? I was at the store and they made a mistake and they gave me 2 coffees. You want one? That's a Nekhebet kind of a thing. So Nekhebet is sort of like putting a thought out there, and that thought is received and brought back to you in the 3D. Whereas Wadjet is, I can't stand that person. I really wish something bad would happen to them. I mean, you're in the moment, you're not thinking, and it's just like, and then you hear something, and something kind of, maybe not horrible, but something did happen with that person. And it's sort of like, oh, whoa, I wonder how that happened. Because those are the magnetic forces that you're either sending out or pulling in. This is the Nekhebet and Uatchet. It flows through, as you guessed it, through your emotions, through your intentions, through the things that you want, that you feel. So with that said, Nekhebet and Uatchet, to keep them in balance, to keep yourself from doing things that you may not expect, it's very good to have a breathing practice. So that you can balance out these energies, so that you're conscious of the things that you're putting out or trying to pull in. And a really wonderful way of doing this is to create yourself a visualization around a goal that you're working on. So let's say you're working on something very, very simple. Say you want a puppy. Say you want a golden doodle because they're cute and fluffy and, you know, a little difficult to get, right? So maybe you start visualizing yourself actually having this golden doodle, exactly what size, what color, you know, if it's going to be a mini or what have you, and you see yourself for 3-4 minutes a day, really visualizing yourself getting the puppy, bringing the puppy home, petting it, loving it, and all of that. Whatever you want to do, walking the dog, feeding the dog, everything, right? So that scenario visualization could be 30 seconds, 15 seconds, however it is. But have that visualization going for however long it is, for at least 3 to 4 minutes a day. And then after maybe 7 to 10 days, see what happens. See if maybe you're moved to do something or make a turn in a different place than you normally would, or if somebody comes to you and offers. You see what I'm saying? Because you're literally putting it out in there and sending the waves out, whether it's Nekhebet or Wadjet, you're sending it out, because Nekhebet and Wadjet both can be worked in this way. With Nekhebet, it would be awesome if you would put a candle, bring it up to your third eye, and stare at the flame and visualize. You can close your eyes or stare at the flame and visualize, whatever you want. That would be excellent with Nekhebet. I'm sorry, with Wadjet. Also, cat's eye. Hope you can see that. Cat's eye is a beautiful stone to utilize when working with Wadjet, because it harnesses that Wadjet energy, and you can hold it and try to visualize and put that visualization into the crystal so that it helps you as you're wearing it to remind yourself and keep that vision going of what it is you want. An example of a Wadjet situation that I heard many, many years ago that I will never forget. A young man wanted to get a house, and he got Wadjet Hatep for, getting the down payment for the house, because, down payment is pretty sizable, right? So he went to counsel, and he was just told, do your breathing, maintain your health and that breath. So he made sure to do martial arts exercises. He did his nadi shuddhi breathing and just kept it up with his normal routine, knowing that this would bring him the deposit for his house. So he's doing this. About a month goes by of him doing this, and he's at the bank. He has, fortunately, he is a witness to a bank robbery. He's right there. He sees the bank robber, and, he's safe, he's protected. And afterwards, they asked for people who had seen if they can come and, give witness. He decided he was going to do this. And of course, he got the money for his house. Yes, that is a very extreme situation, but that is exactly how Wadjet works. Through doing his breathing, through maintaining his bodily strength, he was able to see what he needed to see, be sharp enough to catch all of the details of this bank robber's face, because, this is just his normal life. He was going about his mundane stuff, and was able to use that information to help him. Of course, everything that went on with it, he had the protection of the authorities, so on and so forth. And years later, I still know of this person, and nothing happened to him. He's fine, because again, Wadjet is a protector. But look at that extreme way that it happened. Very sudden, very unexpected, and in a way that most people would have found, a little bit frightening. They wouldn't have wanted to deal with it. That is Wadjet. Another kind of Wadjet situation is, unfortunately, on the negative side, if you get a Wadjet reading for a business dealing, there could be some shenanigans in there. There could be some thievery. There could be a scam, things like that. You have to watch for Wadjet with scams and schemes and things like that that could actually really turn very sour and turn very legal, because the deity that works very closely or similar energies to Wadjet is Hedakuhuti, that fire, that quick response. So those two, you have to work together. If you're working with Wadjet, make sure you're doing all of the Hedakuhuti things, maintaining of your breath, making sure you keep up your physical stamina, and also making sure, and I know this sounds very odd, but you must get your rest. You must, because to maintain that level of energy, because it's a very high vibrating energy, Wadjet, you must get your rest. Many times as a woman having a Wadjet reading, you must make sure you drink the water. You must always rest and exercise, because that is a lot of heat to sustain in one's body, especially if you're of childbearing age. It's a lot. Many women find that it's much easier to handle a Wadjet energy and Wadjet situations after the menses have ceased, because now your body is able to hold it without the detrimental effects or potential detrimental effects to the female organs. If, as a woman, you have a Wadjet reading in your incarnation objective, automatically tells you you cannot sleep on your exercise and things of maintaining your health, making sure that you're eating properly. Very, very important, because you need the physical bodily strength to maintain that high state of energy. With Nekhebet now, Nekhebet already is a little bit more quiescent. It's a little bit more relaxed. And because you're almost weaving a spell, shall you say, on situations, you just speaking things into inner space, outer space, inner planes will bring certain things towards you, whether you realize it or not. So with the Nekhebet, you have to be very mindful of the things you ask for, the things that you say, the things that you say to yourself, because this is very, very, very much looking at your own psychological states. If you are in a mode of, happiness, enjoyment, things are going to go well, because with that Nekhebet, you're going to be able to really finesse and be able to really weave into the ethers what it is you want and bring it toward you. That energy of happiness, of joy, actually pulls it towards you. Now, on the flip side, if you're just like, oh God, I don't know, this is just, it's a lot. If you're in that energy, guess what? You're going to pull more of that towards you as well. And you're going to wonder why there's this downward spiral of all of these things that are happening. And it's not major. It's just little things upon little things that pile up, and then it makes it this big haystack of woe is me, or situations are not going well. Part of a Nekhebet reading, positive or negative, is maintaining your level of emotional fortitude. As you can see, both Nekhebet and Wadjet, they're both very much tied into how you're feeling, because either one of them can talk about you and your internal thoughts and beliefs and feelings. Nekhebet, especially if you have things, inner demons, popular phrase, right? Inner demons to deal with, that Nekhebet can flip, and those things, those little things that really shouldn't be in your mind or in your sphere of awareness, will have its own voice in your mind and will whisper things to you to do, to say, to function that are not in your best interest, because that's, let's call it the devil side of you, the little devil on one shoulder. That Nekhebet Tem in its negative state is that little voice telling you, do this, do that. Oh, you know what? You should tell her that. That'll really get her. And that's where we start getting into problems, because now you're going to have to really be clear. Is this the me that has my best interest at heart? Or is it the other me that is tense and upset or angry or emotional about this, that, or the other? So with Nekhebet and Wadjet, you have to look at your own emotional states, your psychological states. And this is asking you, these cards are asking you to look into who you are and what you want, what your plans are for this week, this day, this month, this year. And you have to really find out what's key to you. And also, in addition to knowing what's key to you, you also need to know who you are as a person and what your personal boundaries are. Because with Nekhebet and Wadjet, there is a great propensity to just go off and go to either the left, or far right. That's just how these energies are, especially if we don't balance them. So by knowing going in who you are and what your boundaries are, the lines in the sand that you will not cross, you need to know those, because those will be trigger points for you. Because if you start seeing red because of that Wadjet energy, it's got you going and you're hot and you need to get that thing over there because that energy revs you up. If you don't know what your boundary is, if you don't know this marks the spot, that energy will have you going, you'll pass that spot and you'll be like, when it finishes, you'll be like, that was back there and I went all the way over there. Yeah, you did, because the energy took you there. And you didn't have a crossroad, a stamp somewhere psychologically in your mind to give you a warning sign. Hey, this is it. If we go past this, then we're getting in problems. So you have to be very, very careful, especially with Wadjet. Wadjet, very much like Herakuhuti, Tem, you see red and you're gone, you're done. And it's like, they'll be putting you in handcuffs and you'll be like, what'd I do? Because you're in a haze and you don't see it. The positive side of Nekhebet is lots of money can come towards you, because what if now you visualize yourself with abundance, however you see abundance, and you visualize that for several minutes a day with that Nekhebet Hetep reading or Nekhebet Uatchet reading, you are going to draw that to you because you're focusing on that thing for several minutes a day. What if you did that for an hour a day? You see what I'm saying? With Wadjet, if you're focusing in on, like this gentleman, he wanted the money for down payment for a house, and you get a Wadjet reading, focus on that. See yourself having the money that you need, and that Wadjet is going to protect you. That just the same way Wadjet protected ancient Egypt, ancient Khamit, that Wadjet will protect you, provided you are doing all of the things. You're exercising, you're drinking your water, you're doing your breathing, you're eating well, right? This is what Nekhebet and Wadjet are. You cannot really say they're like a deity. They're not. It's just energy. And in a moment's notice, Nekhebet can do something different. Wadjet can do something different. Just so you know, Metu Neter, Volume 1 by Raoul Neframen. He writes a great deal about Nekhebet and Wadjet. Well, maybe not a great deal, but he talks about it. Nekhebet, success, the Nekhebet positive, deity positive. Success through psychic forces in the affairs governed by the deity. Nekhebet positive, deity negative. The assistance of psychic influences are nullified by deficits and negativities represented by the deity. You're probably like, what? So this is if you're combining Nekhebet with another deity. So if you have another card, if you're using the Metu Neter, and you get Heteru 2 Nekhebet, well, let's say Nekhebet 2 Heteru Te. So Nekhebet is the psychic influences, what you can do, what you can pull. Heteru Tem, Heteru is the pleasure, the things that are, that make you go, ooh, that looks beautiful. Look at what they're wearing. Look at what they're doing. Look at that food. It looks so delicious. It smells so good. Oh my God, that ring, that chain, that, you see what I'm saying? Those types of things. That Heteru Tem means maybe you're a little bit too excited. You may put aside budgeting, finances to get that thing because it's so wonderful, because the salesperson entices you. It's only going to be $500 a month for the next 7 months. And you're just like, oh my gosh, that's so cheap. I could afford that. Not thinking that you just bought a car, not thinking that you just bought a house or what have you. You see what I'm saying? And that negative Heteru has put it to the back of your mind, and you're just being pulled in, lured in by that beautiful thing. That could be one way of looking at a Nekhebet 2 Heteru Tem. Forget about material things. What if it is a beautiful man or a beautiful woman? Same thing. You're being lured in by all things beautiful and not paying attention to maybe some of those little warning signs. You're not listening to your intuition about things that are not quite matching up with this person, with this picture. And instead of pulling back and trying to get more information, or you working your intuition, trying to use your guile, your wily ways to get more information, you're just being sucked into their spell. That is how a Nekhebet open, positive, Heteru Tem could work. Wadjet now. Wadjet, positive, let's say, Uatchet. It's complete opposite. So Wadjet to Uatchet Tem is very similar to what we were talking about earlier. Your Wadjet is just so on point. You're using that psychism. You're able to maybe get numbers, maybe you get them in your dreams, or you're able to just think about a number and the number plays, right? And this Uatchet Tem, it's at the expense of your health, whether male or female, because your brain is hot. You can't sleep. You're just always getting stuff, picking stuff up. Maybe you are a reader or a person who is very, very akin in working with the stock market, or you're a day trader and you're just on fire, right? But you're not resting, you're not sleeping. So at some point you're going to hit a point of burnout. That is Wadjet open or set Tem. That could also look the same way or very similar with Wadjet open Heteru Tem, because now you just hitting the ground instead of burning out with that Wadjet open Heteru negative. Even if it's Heteru positive, it's just fire on fire on fire on fire. So you're just going. And with that, sometimes you don't listen. It's all about what you're doing, how you're doing it. You're right. Get out my way. Let's go. That is Wadjet Heteru. So this video could be forever and a day, because to deal with each Nekhebet with each deity, Wadjet with each deity, you could do a whole video on each one, because each one is going to have a slightly different flavor. And what was it I wanted to point out here? Wadjet, just to show you how it says it in the book. Wadjet, so this is like Wadjet Tem, open. Psychic influences can aid you in business and negotiations, contests, etc., making you more shrewd. Be mindful of staying within the boundaries of what is right. Assistance from grandparents, trade with foreign countries, religious pilgrimages, psychic affairs, psychic protection. Chant Ong Shirang Shirong. Offer Uatchet's articles and visualize your objective. You see what we talked about earlier? This is what you do for Wadjet. Nekhebet, Wadjet in the negative, intrigues, hidden enemies, illegal activities, suicide, murder, contagious diseases, inspired through subtle forces. Okay? Improve your vitality through aerobics, deep diaphragmatic breathings. You are too lax. This is in its negative, Wadjet, negative. Pay attention to what you are receptive to, who you are receptive to, and what you follow. So we talked about a great many things, and I hope you take away from this Wadjet Nekhebet video more of how you can work with these energies that are a little bit esoteric, a little bit out there, not quite so tangible, and try and bring them into more of a everyday usage. And for Nekhebet, I mentioned how you could work with Wadjet with the flame. With Nekhebet, you can work with that energy with a glass of water, and you could put some marbles inside, glass marbles, because the glass actually retains energy and forces that you put in it. So you could literally put in some marbles in water and hold the marbles first. Put your intentions, put that visualization into the marble, and then put that into a glass of water. And then keep that either on your altar or someplace that you put aside for just this purpose. You clear the space and you put this there. And that could be something that you work with your Nekhebet goals on, okay? So I'm going to leave this video here. I'm also going to link below another video about Nekhebet Uatchet that really gives a very good, thorough explanation of what those energies are. And you can gain more information with that by a fellow Osiris-Set or previous Osiris-Set member to Huti Speaks. All right, so wishing you all the best. Hope you enjoyed this video, and wishing you well on your esoteric journey. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.